H. Turner. Today is Wednesday, January 20th. I am joined today with Kevin and Shane, and we also have a guest today. Yay! We have Mary Shea, who is here today with us from the building committee, which will be one of our topics that we get into a little bit later. But how is everybody doing today?
Good. Great to see you. I'm doing well. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
I'm going to be on mute because they're working on the sanctuary and it sounds like I'm at a dentist office. So I'll pop in just to let you all know.
Thanks. Mary, we'll get into why you're here in a little bit, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are and how much you are involved in at DUMC.
All right, so I'm Mary Shea. We have been members here for about 20 years. We were actually married here. We have 3 children. I have a junior in college. Her name's Brady, a senior in high school, Carter, and a freshman in high school, Audrey. And I have been involved in the youth department for about the last, 17, almost 18 years in one capacity or another. Currently, I'm serving as the advisor for confirmation. And I've been on the building committee since, since we did a plan with Jody, and Mark Conforti was our assistant preacher. So it's been a while, but I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
And Mary was on staff for a while too.
I was, yep.
With the youth, yeah.
That's my passion.
You do a great job with the youth. I've worked with you a little bit on confirmation a couple of years ago and definitely learned lots from Mary Shea. She's a pro at this and getting people to. So, well, we're glad to have you today. No worries. We usually just talk and see where we end up. So yesterday DUMC participated in a national memorial that was honoring those who have passed from COVID-19. And I think as of yesterday, there were almost 400,000 people that have passed away. And we made a quick announcement that we were going to be part of that and that we would be ringing the chapel bells. And we got a lot of feedback from people that had no idea that our church had bells. And Kevin, do you want to share a little bit about the chapel bells and the story behind them?
So the chapel bell, as I'm told, is the original. Yeah, it's only one bell, but it was the original church bell of Davidson United Methodist Church. And after what is now the chapel was decommissioned, it went to live in somebody's garage and sort of forgotten. And then when the church repurchased the chapel in the early 2000s, someone found the bell in the garage and gave it to the church. So that was a really cool thing that it was in the original church and it's back there now.
And the first time it rang in the chapel.
Oh, the first time it rang in the chapel was for the wedding of me and my wife in April 26, 2003. As we kissed at the end of the ceremony, they had the staff had worked this kind of neat deal out and they rang the bell. So it was a really neat touch.
Yeah, we need a little plaque under there, like first rung, you know.
I've actually never seen the bell, believe it or not. They put it in, it was kind of under secrecy, so I never saw it. So I don't know what it looks like.
Well, we were afraid last night when my son was ringing it that it might come through the floor.
Yeah, it was squeaking a lot, and I'm talking to Keith about that. And your son, I didn't tell him he'd have to be ringing for 5 minutes, so I hope he's not too sore today.
No, he's like, I've been
Quasimodo on the bell, just.
Well, he's like, all of 85 pounds, so he was getting a workout, but it was a really touching. We did it. You did it for I think 5 minutes. We rang the bell and we had youth out there ringing some handbells, and it was kind of emotional. You also said I was filming, so I had my back to people passing, but you said people were stopping.
Yeah, people were stopping and videoing it. And one guy stood right in front of the Goodrum family house and took his hat off even. So it was I shouldn't say it was unexpectedly emotional, but I think I underestimated what the response was going to be. People slowed down in their cars. Someone stopped up here in the entrance to the church and actually sat in the driveway while it happened. So it was very respectful and very moving.
Yeah, and obviously we do, we hear the numbers and we talk about numbers, but those are lives, people and families, and, definitely keeping everybody in our thoughts and prayers who are currently suffering from COVID or who have passed. So.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I have a question. What's today?
It is Inauguration Day.
It's also a palindrome day.
What's that?
It's the palindrome day. It's the same date backwards and forwards. 121 2021. You flip it backwards. Karen didn't know that earlier, so I'm just bringing that up.
That's one of those social media facts, isn't it? Did you wake up and see that on your Facebook page?
We were talking about with the kids last night. What a palindrome.
Okay. Yep, and I think it's underway as we're recording this. The president will be sworn in around noon.
Yep.
Yes.
So let's just hope that everything goes well today, that our country can show some respect, and also, I don't know,
solidarity around our process. That's really what makes the United States in its infrastructure.
Yeah. So, okay, well, moving on. We are, our main topic for today is maybe one that some people might not even know is in the works. It's been talked about for many, many years, but it seems to be like we're making some headway to getting closer. And the reason why Mary Shea is here is that she's a representative from the building committee. And the building committee has been working very hard with collecting data and finding out the needs of our church. What are our physical needs of the church? And Kevin's been involved as well. And so we are hoping, I guess, to present to administrative council. Well, they've been presenting, but I guess maybe a final plan as to a new building. I kind of feel uncomfortable calling it a new building because I feel like we're building something brand new, where I feel like what this plan is a little different, but we're still referring to it as the new building. So welcome to Mary Shea. Why don't you jump in a little bit, and if you can give us some background on this whole, this has been going on for years, but maybe a quick synopsis of where we've been and where we are today. And then we have other questions that we can dig into.
Okay, perfect. So I know several years ago, I'm trying to even think back how many years ago, we presented to the church a plan that was around $7 or $8 million. It was affectionately called the parking lot plan, because we were going to move out into the parking lot, move our administration offices out there. And we started our capital campaign and we raised money. But during all of the time that it took, the building prices increased significantly. So we were unable to work through that plan. So we took a step back as a building committee. And in response to the Brett report that was done, we looked at our 3 pillars, which were choir, youth, and fellowship. And we really took the building that we had looked at before, and we really stripped it down and basically trashed it. Because what we felt like was we were not being good stewards of what we truly needed. So this building that we're proposing, it really is the essentials of what we need. And one of the things you were talking about, it maybe not being a new building, it actually is because we're going to tear down what is currently the choir space in that area, the kitchen, adjacent to the fellowship hall, and we'll be building a 2-story, which just made so much more sense to be able to go up because the price was going to be cheaper than going out, and we're landlocked anyways. So that's sort of where we are at as far as the plan that you'll see and whatnot.
Yeah, and let me just interject for just a quick moment. And I was a part of some of that discussion when the idea for a second floor came to fruition. And I just want to commend the group of people and the creativity they exercised. It really was a phenomenal collaboration to think wisely and efficiently what does the church need?
Right. Because we do have a lot of limitations regarding our space currently. Our ministries, which is a wonderful problem to have because our ministries are just so robust and we have so many of them, but we just don't have the space. And I know for the youth, which has always been my passion, when we would be at the Molly McKay House, we wouldn't have the big space. If you had more than 15 kids in the one room, that was all you could fit. And then you have to have, you know, for safe sanctuaries, your adults and things along those lines. So what was happening was we were having to cross the street and think about a December night or a January night where it's pitch black at 5:30 and we have kids crossing back and forth. It just didn't make a lot of sense. I'm sure Kevin could speak to the choir as well.
Sure. Well, most people may don't know, if you've not been back there, the choir room initially was the Sunday school hall or some classrooms. So functionally, there's still a hallway in the middle of the choir room. And so as we were rehearsing on Sunday morning to get ready for worship, people come through, you know, as I'm trying to direct or talk to the choir, there's people coming in between us. And it was, you know, I've gotten used to it, of course, but it is distracting and it's limiting, especially in this COVID time. You know, Mary Shay, when you're talking about the youth, you said 15 people, and I know the room, that would be scary right now. You could probably only get 5 people in the room. Just the space limitations just have made it really hard to have. We've got a robust bell choir program, especially with the youth, as we talked about earlier. You know, we have more kids than bells at this point, so we have to be careful of that. Looking ahead into the COVID thing.
Okay, so I have the plans, I guess the drawings and the plans, and I'm going to share my screen here. Hold on, bear with me. Share. Okay, so this is Mary. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about some of these outside drawings, but this is the street view, I guess, from.
It's the street view. And if you look at the sidewalk that's going sort of straight back to your right, you can see the roof line of the current fellowship hall. And right behind that, there'll be a small little walkway, but that's the 2-story addition that's going over our current choir space. And everything will be done to match up to our current building, the way it looks. And we're trying to work with the town of Davidson to make sure that it's fitting in with what the town of Davidson would like as well.
Okay, this is a close-up as well.
Yep, it shows you the little jut out there. We tried to make it a little prettier than what just a flat wall.
Yeah. And then this looks like an aerial view.
It is. So if you're looking at the screen to the far left is sort of where the preschool, that's the preschool wing, the Alexander wing. And we are coming out into the preschool just a little bit on their grounds with that bump out. But of course, we'll be making sure that everything goes back, if not in a better place, in the same place where it was. But that's probably one of the biggest impacts to the property is just where it comes out. But we are looking, you'll see like the brick wall. We're hoping that we're going to make it aesthetically pleasing for everyone.
So can you see my little cursor on the picture?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this down here is currently the choir room. Is that correct?
Yes, and it will remain the choir area.
Okay. And then this over here is the bump out you were talking about?
Yes.
And what is that currently?
So it'll still be part of, I believe, Kevin, that's still part of your choir area down on the bottom.
Okay.
And then up top, so the second floor, which will be, I don't want to call it like a dedicated youth space, but it'll definitely be used by the youth, but it will be more of like a multi-purpose area.
Yes, I have the blueprint.
That on the plans.
Yeah.
That's a perfect view, sort of showing you our current building and then where the new building's going to go.
Right. And then, okay. It looks really nice. I mean, it's crazy because most of this is already here. So that it's like such a perfect fit. Now this is really, really small. It might be hard for people to see. And I think, I can't tell if this is the first floor or the second floor.
The downstairs, main level.
Okay, main level, okay. Kevin, so this is your area. Do you want to, I can point with my cursor. to
Sure,
help.
I'll try. I mean, I don't want to say it's my area first.
Well, yes, it's
Music
not the
ministry.
Kevin Turner wing.
No. So if you see on the right, that is what is forecast to be the kind of the choral room. And then when I've been in discussions with the building committee, excuse me, I really wanted to make sure that this could be used in other ways too, but not just for choir and nobody else can have a meeting or an event in there. So our plans are to, have missional experiences in there, open it up to the community, maybe have recitals in there if we need to. We've also, I think, are talking about recording being able to be done in there, and also AV stuff, so you could have a presentation in that room as well. And then I'm trying to see on the bottom, Mary, is that what will be the bell room? Is that right? I can't, or is the bell room on the top?
I believe that's the bell room, because I think right above it, directly above,
Yes.
is the robe room.
That's the robe room, right? So that'll store music as what, like print music and other things. And then the bottom is the bell room, which you can see has double doors, which is really very helpful when you're moving bells to and from the sanctuary. I'm trying to see what else would be in there. Mary, you have anything on this? I'm
Well, go Karen, if you keep going straight up, that's the kitchen right where you are right there.
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Mhm. And we've talked to Diana about what she needs and what we don't need. And we're looking at refurbishing a lot of the equipment we currently have. So we're really trying to keep things down to, like I said, just the needs, what we really, really need. And then right above that is a corridor. And that is sort of that area where right now there's the firewall between the two, between the fellowship hall and what is the current kitchen, and that, that sort of courtyard area. We're trying to tie those two together to make a nice long corridor that will connect all the spaces. So the fellowship hall to our new kitchen. So like if we have a serving line, you're lining up in that corridor just to make it much more efficient.
So this gray up here at the top, is that the current fellowship hall?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
and that won't be touched really at all, right, Mary Shay? That's not going to be.
Right now, we don't have it in the plans to touch it, but there may be some discussion later on as to, there will be things that might have to be done, like new carpeting and things as well, but put a pin in that one.
And then this looks like all new bathrooms. Is this Virginia's office area? That was kind of like her.
Yeah, so that's sort of that area and into where the current female bathroom is that was redone several years ago, so that we could fit the men's and the women's in there.
Okay. And then this was normal. This would be like the gathering space to the sanctuary. And then this is down to the Alexander Education Building. Here are the stairs.
And then per code, we have another elevator that's in sort of, let's see, right to your left a little bit as an elevator. And then also off the back of the choir room, there's a set of staircases that'll lead up to the second floor.
So is this the only entrance to the second floor, or can you take an elevator to the second?
You can take the elevator up there, or you could come off of the current Alexander Education Wing in that current staircase that we have.
Okay.
That will connect as well. And you'll see that on the next slide. That's the second floor.
Okay, let's go upstairs to the second floor, which is brand new, not even existing right now. Wow.
Right. Yeah, we're super, super excited. If you want to start in the same spot where Kevin started, there you go. That's what we're calling sort of the multi-purpose room. And right now, I believe it can fit 80 to maybe 100 people in there with chairs. And what we're doing is the little bump out, you'll see the big rectangle sort of right there to your right. And we're looking to put in some sort of a retractable type stage, so that when we need it, we've got it. And when we don't, we can just put it away. And then you'll see sort of there's 3 rooms with the little hashtag lines towards the back. What we've done there is we're putting in sort of like on the second floor of the Alexander room where you had the rooms where you could partition them off. Because I know for the youth, they need big space. But then after they've had like their big lesson, whether it be confirmation or a Sunday night, they like to break up into smaller groups. And so this gives them the flexibility of being able to have some small group space as well. And then also, you know, this is something that we're looking for all of our ministries to use, because we are going to have a warming kitchen up there. And and then we also have the staircase that's accessible. So it'll be easier to get to and from the kitchen. We can bring things up there, but that way it's not just for the youth, it's sort of hitting all of our other ministry areas. So like like Vacation Bible School, it's a great place for Vacation Bible School. You know, our women's functions, if they want a smaller area, we have a sitting area out there. I'm trying to think, there's storage. We've tried to, you know, sort of get in everything. You could do a coffee bar. We're looking to do a check-in station. And then of course we'll have the bathrooms up there, and it will be connected to the Alexander Wing.
Wow, it looks really good. It really does. And it really fits, you know, all of the needs. And you mentioned, I think you called it the Brett Report, but I think it's important for those who don't know that you guys spent a lot of time, or there was a committee that actually did all of the numbers and research. And this wasn't just asking Kevin, hey, what are your needs? I mean, it was physically measuring space and measuring what we have. And I think, Kevin, are you like 30% over capacity with your music stuff?
Yeah, I think, was it Don Hewitt that was kind of spearheading that, Mary?
Yeah, it was Don Hewitt.
it
They
was-
did an amazing job.
And it
was a
stands
task.
for, what was the BRET stand for? I forget the acronym.
Oh,
I can't remember. It was SOIF, was stepping out in faith, but I can't remember what BR. Anyway, yeah, they came to me with a bunch of data that surprised me.
Well,
We work hard, but it surprised me about some of the stuff. Sorry.
well, there were, I believe that there were original, what we've called pillars around which the original design was built or created. And did the metrics still exist today? Did the needs in those areas still exist today? So it was a task force of church members who mined the data and then presented a report and said, well, when it comes to music and youth, the metrics are clear. We still need the facilities in a larger space. The fellowship component, which was the third pillar, that had been modified just a little bit, but the need for the fellowship gathering space was not nearly as high. We have a fellowship space in this design, but of course, in light of the actual data and the research conducted, it's not on the same scale as it might have been before. So everything we're looking at here has emerged from the research of the data concerning the church following trends over the last 10 or so years.
Yeah. Don Hewitt, Robin Bird, especially, and I know Keith Revis helped get all this information, and they were very methodical, very, I'm not trying to make it sound funny. It was a lot of work that I would never want to do.
Well, we just want to look at fact. Let's look at the facts and let the numbers bear out our direction. So in this design then is following the data. And so and the data was driving the vision. And here we have it before us.
I am going to stop share right now, so you guys are going to be back on the big screen. All right, there you are. Hello. Okay, so it looks great. I think the number, the research, everything, it looks awesome. But, the $1 million question is, how much is this going to cost?
So right now, we've been working with the architect and a general contractor, and our cost estimate is currently $4.4 million, which is significantly lower than anything we've presented in the past.
And I know we've had building campaigns in the past and stuff. How much money do we currently have already saved and reserved for this new building?
If I could speak to that. So you can think of it as just, there are two pots, you could say. We have a cash pot, and then we have an outstanding pledges to the endeavor, that pot. And when it comes to cash, we have about $3.7 million ready to be spent towards the 4.4. And then when it comes to pledges, we have outstanding pledges of about $1 million. So if you take those two together without changing anything and modifying, we have about 4.7 million ready to go to a $4.4 million project.
Well, that's pretty awesome to be looking at it from that, you know, from having that money. We're almost basically ready to go.
Right, but there are always, and some of that, there's going to be contingencies we'll have to account for as well.
Mhm.
But as far as it looks as if today you could practically say it's paid for with some cash left over. Of course, that is contingent on the outstanding pledges. And then in the next few days, there will be an exercise where we'll be reaching out to the people who did pledge and letting them get excited about the project, because now it could very well come to fruition very soon.
Well, that would be my next question. So what is the next, I guess, steps involved in making this possibly happen?
Do one of you want to talk to that, Kevin or Mary?
I don't know.
Okay.
We've got those couple different steps because we have to meet with the district superintendent, which is coming up. And then Shane can speak much more to this about the church having to vote. But before we do that, I just wanted to say really quickly about that $4.4 million number. Just so that people know, when we spoke with the architects and the general contractors, we gave them a number of $4 million. So we were trying to be very specific in what we wanted and what we needed, because we wanted to make sure the church got everything they needed, but we did not recklessly spend.
And I also think a part of the vision here, and this is just me speaking, and if I'm speaking non-factually, please accept my apologies. I also think that the goal here was to build something based on the pledges and the cash we have without having to solicit more monies through a capital campaign. Is that about right? I could be wrong.
Yep, no, that's exactly what we were hoping to do.
Yes.
We recognize, you know, the times that we're in. But yeah, so we really just, and quite honestly, we gave everybody pretty much what they needed. So there really
Yes.
wasn't a need to go and above and beyond.
Which is critical to say. So we say, here are our needs. Here are our resources that we can channel to fund our needs. Here's the design based on all of those.
Right.
Now, let me just go ahead and finish the answer to Karen's question. So what will happen essentially is two more steps. The main governing body of the church is called the Administrative Council. And that comprises people who have been nominated to serve on that particular committee, or they are committee chairpersons, finance chair, SPRC chairperson. They will take the first step. The building committee will present, here's the design, here's how much we have ascertained we will have in cash, here's what we have ascertained about outstanding pledges. It's up to you now, Administrative Council, to vote on whether we take it to the next step, which would be a church conference, where all participants in the conference will have a chance to vote whether to break ground up or down. Does that make sense?
And how do they normally vote? Is it like a mail-in ballot, or do they come to a meeting?
You know, that's going to be a challenge for us, I think, especially during COVID, but there are ways to do this electronically. So you could create an electronic ballot. I'm not exactly sure what the restrictions might be on capacity for Zoom, but I think we can find a way to expand the capacity, and people will simply hear the presentation and then vote up or down whether to break ground or not. That's how it works. So it'll ultimately go before the entire church, but the Administrative Council is the first step. So like in Congress, you know, the House has to pass a bill and then it moves on. So we have to pass the bill and then move it on.
So when, time frame wise, when are you thinking that we could possibly, when would be the earliest we could break ground?
Well, what we've been told by the general contractor is they could schedule estimates could happen sometime late summer, early fall. And then that would sort of give us that timeline from when the shovel goes in the ground to when we actually can, take occupancy.
So that's in 2021.
Correct.
And what is the expected, like, how long are they thinking it will take?
You're looking at probably a year to a year and a half of completion. From the breaking of ground to the completing of the construction.
That's not bad
No,
for everything we're gonna get. Doesn't.
right.
Oh.
And considering, I mean, the day is going to come when we're going to be out of the pandemic. We're going to be able to gather again together. But if we break ground this year, it's very possible we're going to be breaking ground at a time where we're not able to be as connected. And so by the time the construction could be almost completed. So that's another way to look at it.
Closing thoughts, Kevin, do you have anything you'd like to add or say, or?
I mean, I think it's a great plan. I commend the committee. They've worked really hard. My standard joke is I think my daughter was 11 months old when we first started talking about this, and she turns 14 in about 2 months. So this is, not this version of the building clearly, or the version that was voted on a couple years ago, but we've had a lot of versions of this, and especially Suzanne Carter has been on this the whole time. And I think maybe Mary Shea, I think you came to my office one time and talked with me about needs, and that felt like 10 years ago maybe, but it's been a long process, and they've persevered and taken the input from the congregation and the staff, and I just really applaud you for doing that.
Well, I think everybody in our group has just added something, which has been wonderful. I feel like nobody came in with a personal agenda, and everybody came in with the heartfelt motion that we need to do what was best for the church. And I hope everybody can see that and feel that's really what we're trying to do. It is what's best for DUMC.
And I'm just extremely proud of the investment of time and the creative skills put into this concept. And you think about from the inception of this idea as a vision, 10, 12, 13 years ago until today, think about how much change the church has undergone in that period of time, from leadership to the economy in 2008. Well, what hasn't changed? The same needs of the church have remained. And now we're in a position where the money raised for this endeavor is now ready to be launched. It is the wisest, most efficient design based on the money that we have, in my opinion, that we're ever going to see. And I hope people will be extremely excited about the possibilities. Because Davidson United Methodist Church, no matter the changes that it will undergo, that's the nature of a church. The community of faith here is going to remain. And it is still going to be a part of making disciples through the music program, through the youth program, and the service of the Davidson community. So let's celebrate where we are right now.
Amen. I love it. Well, I guess there'll be, I know that we have an admin council meeting coming up actually on this Sunday. I don't know if this will be presented, but I think announcements will be made in standard communication emails to the congregation. So if you are interested in coming to an admin council, public or anybody is welcomed, and we'll definitely be communicating more as this comes along as to, when we get closer.
Yeah, and it looks like it'll be around February when we'll really start to get to begin the process in earnest. And in administrative council, I just want to emphasize everybody is invited to attend. Anybody can attend an administrative council meeting. Only administrative council members duly nominated can vote, but even the participants have a voice. But that's just step one, and then we'll bring it before the entire church. There will be some time that will need to be put into making sure it's a very organized gathering of people. So that's how the process will work.
Exciting, definitely exciting. One other announcement to make would just be, don't forget, We're currently into our second week with our book study, our church-wide book study, Apprenticeship with Jesus. And it's never too late to start, get your book and you can follow along. I thought your sermon last week was dead on, and also
Yeah, I've never preached a book before, so it's interesting to kind of draw on someone else's thought. And then I think, oh, I would have said that differently, but it's not necessarily wrong. So what I'm planning to do in my sermons is just be more supplemental and kind of enhance the reading and giving it just a little more theological context. But the concept itself, discipleship as apprenticeship, that's dead on. And that's really the best way for us to understand what it means to follow Jesus. That is to assimilate his very life, as I said on Sunday.
Well, I've been blown away by the numbers in the small group. What were the numbers, Shane?
Well, we've got over 150 people right now participating in the small groups. Kudos to Diane, Reverend Lawhorn. Kudos to the Adult Faith Formation Committee to make all that happen. Just it's exciting. And this is a great way for us to unite ourselves, even though we are disconnected.
Physically. So, well, Mary, thank you so much for joining us. You survived, and we definitely appreciate your input, everything that you've done for DUMC. I know how hard you've worked with the youth and also with this building committee. So thank you so much for your time and all that you do. And Kevin and Shane, I guess I'll see you back same place, same time next week.
Yep, and thanks to all the members of the building committee and all the effort that was put into this project. Just kudos to all of you, and I'm very grateful.
All right, well, you all have a great day, and we'll be back next week. Take care.